Some say that because the Gihon spring is close to the city of David, the temple must have stood there because water is necessary for temple functioning. And I agree, Gihon spring was very important for Jerusalem water supply, but it was not the only water source for Jerusalem. On the Temple Mount, Charles Warren documented at least 43 cisterns for collecting water. One of the cisterns, which was numbered 8, is very big and it dates to the first temple times. If there was nothing on the Temple Mount in the time of Solomon, as Martin and those that follow him claim, why would they bother to create such a huge cistern on the Temple Mount? This cistern number 8 is very similar to the ancient cisterns found in Beersheba and Bet Shemesh, but much larger. The archaeologist Eli Shukron, who have also excavated this cistern and tested the plaster, agrees that this cistern was used in the first temple times. The Jewish commentaries on the Torah, such as the Mishnah, also refers to great cisterns that were located on Temple Mount. Okay, but some of you may say, well, this is rainwater, but living water was needed. We know that in Herod's time there were actually aqueducts that transported fresh water from the Etam spring. The Etam spring fed the lower aqueduct coming from the spring of Etam near Bethlehem, and Solomon's pools located at the head of the Urtas Valley, whence it was conveyed to the temple court by the subterranean aqueduct, some 10 miles in length. The aqueduct has gone into ruin long ago, but you can actually see still parts of it today. According to the Jewish sources, Spring Etam was the water source for the temple, reaching the temple by the means of the lower aqueduct. This aqueduct brought fresh water to cleanse the temple court of the sacrificial blood each evening and to fill the laver. It would have been built for this purpose by King Solomon when he built the temple. Some claim this lower aqueduct was built by the Hashmonean in the 2nd century BCE, but the Hashmonean would have merely repaired or improved on an already existing aqueduct. We can conclude that Solomon would not have relied on cisterns to supply the large amount of water needed on a daily basis to supply the temple, especially in an arid country that experienced consecutive years of drought. In the description of this video, I will put the Jewish sources referring to this water source. Again, the logic of those that propose an alternative view of the Temple Mount location is questionable. The models they provide shows that the water would have to be pumped up. It does not matter if the temple was in the city of David or on the Temple Mount. In any case, water would have to be pumped up. Actually, as I mentioned, it would be easier to transport water to the Temple Mount than the model that Martin and those that follow him propose. Again, people that favor this questionable theory worry about water for the temple sacrifices, but they don't worry about the space needed to perform those sacrifices. Thousands of sacrifices would be performed during biblical feasts. Herod enlarged the temple platform to enable even more sacrifices to be performed. But even if we take the original dimensions of Solomon's temple, it simply does not fit in the city of David. Another argument that I saw is that Jesus predicted that the temple would be destroyed and no one stone of the temple would be left standing. Then they point to the western wall and say, "See, there are stones." so this cannot be the temple location. Again, this only shows a lack of understanding of what are we looking at. There is nothing left from the temple building, and actually, if you go up the Temple Mount, you can see trees planted on the Temple Mount. As the prophet Micah writes, Zion will be plowed like a field, Jerusalem become a heap of rubble, the Temple Hill a mount overgrown with thickets. This is a picture we can see today on the Temple Mount. The stones that are left are not part of the temple, but are stones that are left over from a huge supportive structure built by Herod. If you actually go down the western tunnels, you can actually see how big those stones are that were used to expand this massive structure. The Roman soldiers destroyed what they could, but to get rid of those massive stones, you would need explosives or Hulk. By the way, the stones resemble Herodian style. The Romans would not bother to build with such massive stones in a place that they did not even care about. Jerusalem, for the Romans, was always a province that did not matter that much. On the contrary, Herod is known to build crazy projects where he used engineers to create unbelievable structures. A palace on a steep hill in the middle of the desert and a massive harbor city in Caesarea, where he also used massive stones and placed them precisely on each other in the middle of the sea, are just two examples of his incredible projects. And we read that the temple in Jerusalem was his greatest project ever. The massive stones are a witness that this is the place where Herod built the temple. There are of course more things I would like to discuss, but we will leave them for part 3 of this series. As always, I encourage you to comment. Let me know what you think. You can also subscribe to this channel to stay informed about the next monthly episodes on Jerusalem's history. You can also support me by clicking on the join button on my channel main page. This will certainly help me to improve and create more presentations. Have a great day and see you soon!